online tutorial on coding and robotics. So in this particular lesson, we are going to do an introduction to conditional logic. So we're going to learn some basics. We're going to be using a potentiometer. So you should have your 10 kilo ohm potentiometer with 3 pins for you to be able to do this. So this is the setup here that we're looking at. This is the potentiometer that I'm talking about. So what you have to do is you connect your red wire here to a 5 volts output, and then the white wire here to your ground, and then on the third pin or the middle pin you're going to connect this to let's see which pin we can use here. We could use those analog pins. So on your Arduino you're going to see some analog pins labeled A1, A2. Those are analog pins, so you can check out for those. So what we want to do is to make our Arduino able to read values that are coming from your potentiometer. So this arrangement allows for the voltage here to vary. The voltage that's going to come out of this potentiometer is going to vary, and you should remember that your Arduino provides a voltage from 0 up to a maximum of 5 volts. So this voltage is going to vary from 0 to 5. But what we have to do is we have to do the coding to allow this the computer to be able to read these voltages. And later on, what we can do is we can apply some conditional logic to trigger some functions. Let's say our voltage goes above a certain value. We can ask the Arduino to do something. For example, it can give us a warning that the voltage is now above the threshold. So we can set limits to say we don't want the voltage to go above 4 volts. We can say we don't want the voltage to fall below 2 volts, and we can apply some conditional logic to get some warnings. If someone turns the potentiometer such that the voltage goes above 4 volts, then we'll get a warning. That is what we call conditional logic, to say if this happens, if the voltage goes above 4 volts, then the Arduino should be able to carry out a certain function. So we'll get to that later, but now let's do some coding that is required here. So you have to declare your variables. So integer variables, my pin, we're going to be using A2. So this is the pin that we connect this wire to, so pin A2. And we also I have another variable that we need to declare here, which we are going to say read value. So I'll explain that later on. We also need to we're going to be getting some decimals. So we say we don't, when we are going to be reading or using decimals, we say float. We don't write integer, we say float. So there is a voltage that we're going to be reading. Let's call it V2. Okay, so let's proceed to declare here some variables. So we have our integer variables, which are my pin, which is A2, and then we have another value that we want to read, which we call read file, and we have a V2 here that we're going to be using. So let's see how you use these variables in your code. Okay, so we also need a serial monitor, which is going to be reading for us the voltages, displaying for us the voltages that are coming from the potentiometer. So that's important. So you have to say serial.begin. Our code is 9600, and your semicolon. Now let's go to the void loop and put our main code there. So what you have to type here is read val is equal to, so this integer value is going to come from analog read. So this is a function, analog read. You are telling the Arduino to read where to read my pin. So the Arduino is going to go to my pin where this wire is connected, and it's going to read the value, a value that's coming from that potentiometer, and it's going to assign it to this variable, which is our read val. So this is what we want the Arduino to do for us. And then we want it to display the voltage that's coming from there. So what the Arduino does is that it's not going to read for you the actual voltage that's coming from the potentiometer. We know that it supplies a voltage from 0 up to 5 volts. However, this voltage is going to be put on a scale of numbers from 0 up to 1023. So it's going to be a scale of numbers from 0 to 1023. So we need to turn this scale back to a scale of 0 to 5 volts. So how do we do that? So this is the variable v2 is going to be 5 divided by your 1023 times we are going to say times here times the value that's coming from the analog pin, my pin. So let me summarize this for you. So we are going to get in values from 0 up to 1023 from this pin. This is the value that's coming from this potentiometer. It's going to be a number from 0 up to 1023. So when you turn it to the last to its maximum, it's going to be 1023. When you turn it down to the minimum, it's going to be 0. So we now want to turn those numbers to a readable voltage, to a voltage that's from 0 to 5 volts. So this is what we have to do: 5 over 1023 times the value that's coming from our pin. Okay, so you have to put that function there. Okay, and so let's see. When you do that, and then you have to display that on your serial monitor. So we are going to put a function to enable the serial monitor to display those values. It's going to be serial print line v2. We also have to write something serial print. We have to say serial print before writing our serial dot print line here. Serial print what? Potentiometer voltage. Okay, potentiometer voltage is, and then we'll put a space and those commas. Okay, right. So we want our serial monitor to display for us the potentiometer voltage. This is why we have to say here serial dot print. Then on the same line we want to print again this value v2, which is going to be calculated from this value that's coming from our pin. Okay, so this is the code. This is what it's trying to do. So let's see now. Let's see if you upload this code. Of course, yes, we also have to apply a delay. Okay, and instead of using numbers, you can also declare your delay as a variable. So let's see if that if you do that, so you can go to your delay. The delay time can be declared here as a variable to say an integer of dt is equal to 250, so that when we want to change it, you just come to the top here and change the 250 to whatever number you feel like. But anyway, you have to put a delay as your Arduino is going to be reading and carrying out these functions. You need to allow it a space to breathe. You need to give it a delay time. So okay, now that all is set, let's see the values that are coming from. So this is what you will see, your serial monitor, and when you turn your knob, you must be able to start to see the values change. So you can see if you turn it down, the values will change down to 0, and when you turn it up, the values will go up all the way to 5 volts. So this is what the code is telling the Arduino to do. So in our next video, we'll look at how you can now apply conditional logic to this to say what should the Arduino do if your voltage goes above a certain threshold, which you decide yourself. You can say 4 volts. You can tell the Arduino or instruct the Arduino to carry out a specific function if the voltage goes above 4 volts, or if it falls below a particular threshold of your choice. You can say if it falls below 3 volts, I want the Arduino to do this. So if you understand the basics of conditional logic, you can be able to apply the same to sensors and many other things that you're going to be connecting to your Arduino board. So I'll meet you in the next video, and please register with us so that you get trained for more. See you in the next video, and enjoy yourself.